This particular roller here, it's off a fairway mower. This has water pump style bearings in it. We've just replaced the bearings, and so they're brand new. This is the style that go in there. So it sits in there just like this. There's a special tool that is used to pull these out. If I was going to replace these bearings, if you notice, there's no hole in this. This one here has a hole in it. The purpose of the hole is for removing of the bearing. This is a special tool. Different manufacturers make different ones. This one here is made by R&R Products, and it's a heavy-duty one. It's a really nice tool. The only problem is this rod that you stick through the hole doesn't fit. So they give you a nice hardened pin, but it doesn't fit in. All fits in that one. It typically doesn't fit most bearings. So the way this works, you're going to stick this over there. You line up the hole. You stick this pin through, and it goes through this little hole here. You stick it all the way through. You just hold this, and you take either an air wrench or just a wrench, and you turn the nut on the top. And you notice the pin, when I'm screwing that, where is the pin going? So what I'm doing is I'm pushing on the roller and pulling on the bearing, and it will physically just pulls that bearing right out. So put an air wrench on there. If you've got this thing lubricated, we put NECs on it. That's what's protecting the threads. If you don't protect it, you're going to damage this thing pretty fast. And we just take an air wrench and it just pulls it right out. And then you're just going to pull the pin. When you pull the pin, the bearing falls out. I'm going to take a new one, stick it on there, and I'm going to drive a new one in. Showing you how, what I'm going to do is I would pull both bearings, top and bottom. I'm going to put one bearing in the bottom and one bearing in the top, and I'm going to use two drivers. And this is what the drivers look like. It's just a round, like a pipe with a hole in it. What this is doing, when it slips over there, it's driving it on the race. If you pound on this part of this, it's going to actually break it. What you got to remember is there's a roller bearing in there. And if you've got a roller bearing that's round, and it sits into a race that's also round, when I pound on this, the bearing in the race. And what does it do when it does that? It's putting this tremendous force out on the race. And these are it's hardened steel, very hard spring steel. And if this breaks, it's like a shotgun going off, and this thing will actually explode into thousands of pieces. And if you're around and not wearing protective clothing or glasses, you're going to get hurt. And so you never pound on the inside of a bearing. You always drive on the piece that's sliding into the surface. So it'll be this outer race. And so these particular tools, I'll put one on the bottom, and I just set it on a concrete floor or something. Set the roller on top. Take another bearing, stick it on there, and I take a second one, take a hammer, and when I pound on this, I'm actually going to drive two bearings in at one time. So that gives me speed. If I don't happen to have two tools, I can drive one in and then flip it over and do the other side. But these are the fastest and easiest style of bearings to change. They're very easy to come out and very easy to go back in.